The live stream, is it on?
Yes, the live stream is on.
So it's 6:30. We have about 30 participants. We can start. Okay. Very good evening for participants who are joining from Sri Lanka and also from Japan. We would like to welcome you all to the webinar on guidance for professional careers in Japan, organized by Sri Lanka Students Association in Japan. We expect more participants to join in the progress, but still 6:30, so we will start on time. So first of all, I would like to welcome our distinguished panel of experts who are joining today for the webinar. Mr. Jagat Ramanayake, President of Sri Lanka Business Council in Japan and a renowned entrepreneur in Japan, and Dr. Chetika Gunasiri, postdoctoral research fellow in University of Tokyo, and Dr. Nama Ratnayake, postdoctoral research fellow also from the University of Tokyo. So today in this webinar, we expect to have a fruitful discussion about the possible pathways for a student who is studying in Japan once he finishes his or her studies. What can that particular person do if he wants to, continue living in Japan and looking for a professional career? So if I may to introduce the essence of this webinar, we will look at possible pathways in academic careers, as well as if one wants to be an entrepreneur. I think we would have very good advisors from the president of Sri Lanka Business Council in Japan, Mr. Jagat Ramanayake himself, and from our postdoctoral research fellows who have excelled in their academic careers. So without taking further ado, I would like to move on to our first speaker, Mr. Jagat Ramanayake, President of Sri Lanka Business Council in Japan. And he has completed his BSc in Business from the University of Yokohama and his MBA at Tokyo University in Japan. In Japan, and he is a renowned entrepreneur as well as one of the leading business in Japan, in Sri Lanka, and among Japan. So we are fortunate to have you here, sir. We are looking forward to your expert knowledge and your advices to the young generation who are looking forward to settle themselves in Japan. Over to you, sir.
Okay, could I share my screen also? Is it possible?
Yes, I think Utpala, we can. Yes, sir.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Actually, I'm joining from Colombo today. With the programs, I just managed to find some time. So anyway, thank you very much for inviting me today for the program. And I would like to talk about business. As you said, one of the pathways of you to stay in Japan would be business. And the main thing is you will have to work a little bit more, not after finishing your studies, but before, when you are during your studies or before you start studying. If you want to do or if you want to get into any kind of a business, I think you should have to think about that also. Yes, right. So I would just I just prepared some slides that I would like to go through that. Hope you can see me and hear me clearly. Is it okay? Yeah. Yeah. So as you introduced me, I'm the president of the Sri Lanka Business Council in Japan, and I've been living in Japan for more than 35 years. Started my career as a student, just like most of you. Studied my language and then did my undergraduates and masters in Japan. One thing was that I started business during my university time, so that was a little bit of a thing that had the advantage for me to get into the business faster, and at that time to become to create our organization, which is RamaDBK. So as you know, I have been a member at the Student Association in Japan for a long time. I have held positions at that time when I was a student, and also with that experience, and after that I have been working with the Sri Lanka Association. also the Automobile Association and the Business Council. So every association we had to do something with Sri Lanka and Japan to build the bridges between the two countries. So this is the place what we are right now is the Business Council, which we basically try to connect two countries with through the businesses and the people. So it's my duty to explain students and like to make people to become business owners and how we could help them in the future. So I will just go through these slides, and I would not explain everything, but the key points I will be just giving you an idea with the experience what we had in the past. So as everyone knows, I think most of you have been living in Japan, and not only business. If you're going to live in Japan, there are things that we do not experience in other countries about the Japanese work culture. How not only the work, even in Japanese society, how people respect each other. I think that you must have seen if you have been living in Japan for some time, because people respect each other. Even they don't care about your job or they don't care about anything what you do, but they respect each other as human beings. So that is very important for Sri Lankans or the foreigners to know that we should respect each other when we are living in Japan. And also the teamwork. Every group, every place, there's a team. I think you must have seen when you're in the class or when you're working with your professors, or when you're working somewhere as a part-time job. Most of them work as a team. It's not there's nothing to do with individual work, but mostly it's a team, and everybody tries to move with the team. That's why some foreign students or foreign people are popular among the Japanese, because they could understand the teamwork. And I think one of the most difficult things to understand is the hierarchy. We have this kind of thing called senpai kohai, and that's real strong. That's real strong, and that's how the Japanese society has been running up to now. So I'm just giving you a background that for you to understand how the Japanese things are moving around. And these particular things are just to live in Japan. Even if you're going to do a business or if you're going to start up your organization, you will have to know about these things and learn about it a little bit more when you're reaching out to your clients. And also the sectors of the opportunities right now, if you look at the sectors, which when I started, it was like the motor vehicle industry, which we had more opportunities in that, and a little bit of IT and things like that. So right now in Japan, they need IT engineers, IT organizations, which people, because they have to get it from overseas, which they don't have enough support inside the country. So if you're just looking at the opportunity sectors, it's like IT, engineering, and also the healthcare with the aging problems in Japan. So these are the three things I just highlighted, but there are many more. But what I see is in the future with the AI and all that, Japan needs a lot of IT support from foreigners, actually from the foreign students who are coming into Japan. So as you know, the SSW, the skilled worker program, is something else that they are specifically made to do some job, and they have been categorized. But if you're trying to do a business, or if you're trying to do an organization which you want to grow, I think it's better that you select your path which is close to your education also. And so like the other thing is like adapting to your workplace, the culture that comes with the things that I spoke to you right now. And the next thing is the networks, what you should create in Japan. It's not only in Japan, even anywhere in the world, you need a kind of a networking thing to keep up your communication and get information from people, which if you're going to do some business or if you're trying to start up your own business. The Business Council has a community network, which I would like to just highlight you right now, because we have Sri Lankan and Japanese business people who has been doing business in Japan more than at least about 10 years or more than 10 years. So everybody has experience about the Japanese business culture, and also we share a lot of experiences, and some, if you take about the law, or the tax system, labor laws and everything. So when we get together, we have discussions and we try to keep this networking thing that's very productive, and it's the first-hand information what we can get, because most of our members has gone through experiences which the foreigner would have got when they are working with Japanese organizations, or if you have any clash between Japanese organization or company to company or something like that, how we should act and how legal advice we should get and things like that. Not only that, even the taxing systems and all those way of handling organizations, we have a better database or with a lot of information in the Business Council. So that's a place that the foreign students or the Sri Lankans who wants to start up a company should come and work together and become a member. If you have started your own business, I think that would be one pathway that you should get into if you are trying to start up and try to get some information about Japanese business. And building trust and long-term relationships. So that's a common thing. But Japan, they look at this very strongly, how much you have been working with them and how much you have been loyal with your clients. So that's if you're trying to start up a business, I think that's very important to build the trust. Trust is something that you have to build up, because I can give an example. When I was a student, I used to rent an apartment, and I used to pay the rent every month, just 2-3 days before the month ends. So and according to the Sri Lankan culture, paying rent at the time is a big thing, that like you're like showing that you're punctual. But once I had this experience, which I got late to pay, and I had to pay after 1 week. And when I went to pay, the real estate person was very angry, and he was not happy with me, and he was not good. So then, as an excuse, I said, I have been paying you all this time for 2 years, and why are you so angry? Because only one day I got late. But he told me, no, that's not the story. Paying on time is a normal thing. It's not nothing, special. So what you have done is wrong. So first you should come and apologize. So that's how the culture works in Japan. So there's a difference between our culture and the Japanese culture. This was a small example that I wanted to tell you. It is a very small thing, but there I learned a lot of things that which we have to respect in the future. And the barriers that if you're trying to have a business or trying to have your own company, as you know, the Japanese language is a barrier that you will have to go through. But when we started, actually, we didn't have these computer or AI or translation softwares and things like that. We have to go through a lot of hard work. But right now, it has been more flexible. But still, to get into this path, I think you need some kind of Japanese, at least the communication skills. Reading, writing might be the next step, but at least the communication skills will be important for you to keep studying about that. And regarding the visa and the immigration services, now the Japanese government has come up with a lot of new visa categories, which is more easy for you to get visas. Like in the past, they had only about 2 or 3 streams that you can get into, but now they have given. They want more foreign organizations to come in and do businesses, and also the students, if they're starting businesses, and if their idea is good, they would categorize and they would especially look at the project and would like to give you a chance to get your visa. So to do that, you have to study and see what are the areas that the government is looking at, and also how you can fit into that organization, the visa system. Then starting and growing up business in Japan. I would like to give my personal experience just for your knowledge, but that is something 30 years ago, or 30 years ago how I started. So, but I would like to say that things what we are going to start from now will be more higher ranked and more high tech and things like that. But when I was a student, I used to start selling vehicles to other countries as my part-time job. So first of all, I had a chance of selling my cars to foreign students who wanted cars to, when they were going back to their country, they wanted to import their cars back. So I somehow I found a way to send these cars to these foreign students, and that was the first step that I took in this business. But when I was studying in university, I got to know that then only in 1990s the internet started in the world, that the websites and things came up to the internet. So that time I thought of having a homepage to sell my cars, and I'm happy to say that we were one of the 3 companies who had a homepage. I was a student actually, but I had a homepage with the car pictures, prices, and all that to show the whole world that we have cars from Japan. So that was a very new thing to the whole, the motor vehicle industry. And people used to laugh at me, and they were making fun of me and saying that who is going to buy cars through internet? Why are you doing this and things like that? But at that time that was a big hurdle for me, which we brought up the car pictures and the car information and the prices. It was a very easy homepage with 3 or 4 pages with the car and the car prices and also the pictures. So this was when people were just typing Japanese used car or something like that, our page would come to their search engines, and most of the people used to visit my website, although it was a very simple one because we didn't have anything in Japan to see like that. There was some in Japanese language, but what we had was in English. So that made our organization popular all around the world, because when they didn't buy cars from us, they just wanted to come and see what was the price and what was the cars in Japan and things like that. So what I wanted to say is, when you're starting, you have to, at that time, that was like a dream-like thing that would not happen, or nobody trusted on. But we managed to get this website like the #1 in Japan in 1990, in 2000. We were known all around the world, which that we had a big exposure that we could do our business with these countries. And we even didn't know who is going to call us and who is going to buy cars from us, because it was just an open website, So that's how our organization started. Just I wanted to say now, the websites and all these small things have finished right now. So the next generation, what you're going to start from now, should be what is going to be in the future. So if you try to use this kind of technology or things like that, I think it will help you if you're going to start your business or organization. It may be anything what you're going to do, but I think you will have to use the highest technology, which is AI, which is coming right now. So that's one thing I just thought of informing you. If you're going to start up your organization, you should think about the highest level what you can reach in the technology right now. And as I'm the president of the Business Council, I just thought of giving you some information about the Sri Lanka Business Council in Japan. This Business Council was the Sri Lankan government wanted to have business councils around the world 20 years ago, and they wanted the embassy to create a business council to help Sri Lanka to do business with these countries. One of the best examples was the Japan Business Council, which we have been working for the last 20 years, all along without any delays or anything. Like every year we had a president, which we had a annual program. Most of you might not know what we have been doing, but we have been working with business people who wanted to go and do business in Sri Lanka, investors who wanted to go to Sri Lanka, and we have been assisting them to go to Sri Lanka. So that was done all along with many committees who have been doing this, and that doesn't highlight, but it has been helping our country for the last 20 years. And not only that, we have also helped Sri Lankans who wanted to start businesses and get information. As I told you in the beginning, we support if there are problems, if they need any support regarding the business activities and things like that. Other than that, when when Sri Lankan officials or the politicians or the presidents, when they visited Sri Lanka from Japan, we accommodate them and we try to arrange meetings and give them the business ideas, and also whatever we can, how we could help them in Japan. So that kind of activities were done also through the 20 years. And as you know, the Sri Lanka Festival, which we have been doing all along in Tokyo, Yoyogi Park, that was one of our main events. As you know, that is the highlight of Sri Lanka. Actually, most of the Japanese people get to know what is Sri Lanka also when they come to this festival. So the first thing what I wanted to say was we don't get the government to pay anything from Sri Lanka. All the funding is done by the Business Council members. They donate a lot of money into this. And although we get money from the stalls and from the people who are, participating, that's about 40% to 50% of the total cost. Just for your knowledge, it's about 20 million yen, the expenditure. We get about 10 to 12 million from most of our participants, but others are all sponsored by our members. So I would like to keep a note that we are very happy that we have so business people who really who love Sri Lanka, and they wanted to help Sri Lanka, and spending so much of money every year. It's like a sponsorship. Only their emblem and the name is on the board, but basically most of them doesn't get anything out of this promotion program. But so that's what I thought of, just giving you the idea of the Business Council. And I would like to invite, even if you are into business, please try to join the Business Council. As you're a young people, you should get into this associations and try to help our journey. So with this, I just went through so fast because, I just wanted to finish my time, and I would like to open it up and give you a chance to ask any questions or anything that you didn't understand or anything regarding my speech. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jagat Ramanayak. I think it was a very insightful and very nice presentation. You covered, I think, almost all the things that a young budding entrepreneur from Sri Lanka who is in Japan wants to know. So the forum is open for a quick question and answer session with Mr. Jagat Ramanayak. So you can also send it through the chat, and we are live on Facebook, so you can comment on the Facebook. So until others are coming up with their questions, I would like to ask a question about the patience of waiting, being patient when you start something, and understanding that it will take some time to get the results, because with these new technologies and fast-paced world, we are quite impatient, and we are looking for results, quick results. So how important is it to be patient and wait for the results and do the correct things, right things continuously? So the importance of patience would be nice to hear from you.
Yeah, actually, that's true. Like we have gone through the Facebook, and we have gone to TikTok, and we want to finish it in 3 minutes. We don't, not at least in a minute. We want to get everything. So that's the society right now. So when you come into business, as you said, you need patience. But if you believe on your business or believe in your plan, and you have to keep on pushing it and trying hard, you will get the result. It doesn't matter, as I told you, it doesn't have to be one area. But if you have confidence and if you keep on pushing, it's not a difficult task to get into your business. But it's not going to be an easy path, because everybody has this technology, everybody has this information. Not like those days, You just type it or you just ask GPT. They will tell you all the sides about what you are trying to do. So, but as you said, it's very important that you devote your time and also do a research. If you're a student and if you're studying and if you're thinking that you should start up a company, I think during your studies you have to start your research work, and not after. Most of the time what happens is, when students come out from the university, they try to find a job, and when they find it's difficult to find a job, then they try, okay, then I will go and start up a company and try to do some business. So it's not so easy. So but if you have done your homework, like if you're trying to do something in the future, I think that's very important. So as you said, I think that's what you should do.
Thank you very much. Do we have questions from the audience? The forum is open for you. Yes. Okay, I think since you have covered most of the things, there's nothing much to ask. But one more thing, the final thing, the working with the Japanese community, since we are in a foreign country, and respecting the local community and building relationships with it, how important is it? Because someone would think, okay, we have the Sri Lankan community here and we can work alone, but how important is it to work with the Japanese community and to build relationships with them?
Yeah, actually, as I was explaining, it's very important to keep relationships with them, because when they look at foreigners, most of the Japanese, they see everybody as the same picture. Where, as you know, when we are in Japan, you see the television news and you see how many things have happened in Japan and how many people have ran away with people's money and all that. So to build up that, it's very important to have this relationship, and also to keep the trust. The trust is very important. And if you're trying to do businesses with Japanese organizations, you will have to work a little bit harder. There are some organizations which they send samples for 2-3 years, and every time it was rejected. But when they start the business, it keeps on running, and they would not change into another customer or another place if you can build up that trust and also keep your quality. Quality is very important, and we have done some programs with the EDB, getting Japanese experts regarding the products and things like that. How the Sri Lankan people, if they want to export things to Japan, how they should do the packaging, how they should do the coloring, and all those things. We as the business council, we did some programs 2 years ago and helped some Sri Lanka. So that's also very important. That every time what I say is, if you're trying to bring a product and do a business in Japan, you have to do the research like Toyota or the Nissan, how they do. I think most of you know that if the Toyota releases a car, the first car is bought by Nissan. Or when Nissan releases a car, Toyota buys the Nissan car, and they bring it into pieces, and they remove it into pieces and check and compare with their cars, and then try to build up their own car. So like that, if there's a product in the market, I think you should get that into your hand and then do the research and the development with your product to compare this and see how better we can do. I think that's one thing that I should tell you all if you're going to do something. Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jagat Ramanayak. We can have one more question from the audience if you have questions. Otherwise, we can move on.
Shall I ask a question?
Yes, okay, please.
So thank you very much, Mr. Jagat Ramanayak, for the insightful presentation. So I'm just wondering, the Japanese legal framework is also a little bit different from most of the countries, especially when compared to Sri Lanka. So is there any notable or the important rules or regulations regarding starting businesses, and if there are any qualifications, like you mentioned about the language requirement and the research, but if there are any qualifications or requirement we have to acquire in terms of legal framework to start business? So if you can remind anything.
Yeah, that means to become a lawyer or something like that, or law firm or something like that. Or...
No. Actually, it's like for example, you have to have a business visa, and to start a business, so maybe you have to have a business partner in Japan or some kind of legal requirement.
No, legal requirement, those days it was you should have a Japanese partner and partnership should be 50% and things like that. That's no more. The foreigner, even a foreigner could start his own organization. And it's possible for you to do it individually also, but it's more advisable to get a lawyer to help you to collect the documents and prepare it in a better way that how the immigration would want to see, So basically, it has become very easy. Actually, now there are more, not only Japanese, now you can get the documents in English, and the system is like that. If the Japanese immigration is looking at like how genuine is this proposal and how genuine you're going to do this work in the country, because there had been so many things going around, and if they believe that your documentation and what you have presented is genuine and you're really trying to work on that, I think that is the main thing they will look into. But I would advise, like, if you're going to do a new kind of a business and trying to apply for visa, you should go through a kind of a lawyer, which we are doing. And I'll just give a small message that in February 2nd, we are having a big program for students regarding how they should start businesses and things like that. We are getting about 5-6 professional people who have been working in doing business in Japan will come and talk to the people, and we are getting visa experts, bankers, and all that also to give some information. But the thing is, we did the application and we have got about 4,000 applications, so we cannot accommodate everyone. So for the first session we are accommodating 1,800 people who has applied first. So that program, if we can record it or do it live or something, you might be able to see that. Or we will be having the second program in between maybe next year. Yeah, so that's one information that will be very important, because there will be people talking with all sectors like tea, IT, people who have succeeded in Japan will be giving their ideas in this program. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Jagat Ramanayake, for your answers as well as for your wonderful presentation. And we actually encourage the participants and the students who are living in Japan. I think Ms. Chetika, Dr. Chetika has a question. Okay,
yeah.
let's go.
Can I ask one last question? Yeah.
Sure.
So thank you very much, Mr. Ramanayake, for that inspiring story. Actually, not only for the people who are willing to do business, but it's like, we all can learn a lot from that. So thank you so much for sharing that. I have one small question. So according to your experience and, what do you think, what kind of what are the fields that having more potential to start like business between Japan and Sri Lanka in future?
Yeah, right now they're looking at the IT sector is very, very important for them, and the AI, the new technology, they are looking at this. That's very important. And also the recruiting area that people, as I told you, the SSW program, they want special skill workers from Sri Lanka. So that as a business, not as working, as a business, you can start up. There's a lot of support from the government also, because they want this kind of things. But the most popular will be the AI, I think, AI programming and how you should use AI in offices, companies, and all in the websites and all that. I was just talking about our website, which I started 20 years ago. Now, these websites, you cannot have just a static websites. I think we should have more AI into this and supporting these things. So that need is there all around Japan. So if you can start something like that with IT and, these kind of jobs might be better for you to climb up fast,
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your questions. I think we can move to the next speaker. Thank you very much, Mr. Jagat Ramanayake, for your insightful presentation as well as we actually encourage all the participants, if you are actually thinking of starting a business or joining the business sector in Japan, you could contact the Sri Lanka Business Council and take some guidance as well as some advices from the people who have already done that and achieved in that field. So thank you very much again, and we look forward to working with you in the future as well.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
Thank you. So let us move on to the next speaker for the day, Dr. Chetika Gunasiri, postdoctoral research fellow from the University of Tokyo. She's also an alumni of the Sri Lanka Student Association in Japan, so one of our beloved friends, and now a renowned professional in Japan. So the webinar is over to you, Dr. Chetika. We're looking forward to hear from your perspective.
So, share my presentation.
Yes.
You can see the presentation, right?
Yes, we can see.
Okay. Yeah. So thank you so much, Harshana, for that kind introduction, and good evening to everyone. Yes. So, and first of all, I would like to thank for SLSJ for inviting me, and I'm so happy to share my experience of my journey in Japan so far, and hope you can, learn something from my experiences and things. Yeah, so currently I'm a JSPS postdoctoral research fellow at the Institute for Future Initiatives in the University of Tokyo. So actually, I just like to share my background, because then it's easy for you to understand how my journey, has begun and came up to this far. And actually, I was not a professional academia before. I was in the industry. Before I came to Japan for my PhD, I was working as an environmental scientist for government of Sri Lanka for about 7 years, actually. And then I thought like my job was mainly not kind of administrative job, because I'm working as a scientist, so it related with research as well. So that made me so interested to shift my career into more research and academic area. So I conduct my research basically on urban sustainable cities, mainly on green spaces, urban water resource management, nature-based solutions. So that's my area. And currently I'm working on 3 projects, and 2 of them are like I'm the principal investigator, my own project, and also I'm working as a team member for another project in United Nations University in Japan. Yeah, so before I began, to go to my journey, or how to find postdoc in Japan, I would like to talk about what is postdoc. Maybe some of y'all still don't have an proper idea what is this postdoctoral. So you all know this, right? This is a hedge maze where you can see in most of the big parks these vertical hedges separate the passages, and there is a one entrance and there is a one exit. And when you enter to this hedge maze, there are several paths, but you cannot see the exit, but you can go to that exit in using any path. You have to explore your own path. So actually postdoc is something like this hedge maze. Okay, so maybe you are in the journey of PhD, or you want to pursue your PhD, or are currently doing your master's or postgraduate studies, or you have completed your PhD and looking for a postdoc. So postdoc is a kind of it's like a hedge maze, so to find the tenure track job in the academia. So you have to find your own way. It doesn't directly gives you, okay, when you finish your PhD, it doesn't directly show you, okay, so this is the path. You have to find your own path. So seems a little bit, complicated, but don't worry. There is a path. There are several paths, actually. That's the best thing about the postdoc, but you have to find your own path. So that is the idea of pursuing a postdoc. So actually, what is a postdoctoral fellowship? This is basically a training. Postdoc can be done a person who earned a doctorate degree. So that's why it's called postdoctoral fellowship. And it's a training. Training on what, actually? So it's a temporary period of mentored research or a scholarly training in academia or either research institutions or industry. So after you earn your PhD, so postdoctoral fellowship gives you makes you more stronger or like experienced independent researcher to become a permanent academic position or like in, in a research institution or industry. And typically, since this is a temporary tenure, so typically lasts for 1 to 3 years, but it depends on the institution or the funding agency. And also your postdoctoral fellowship can be funded through scholarships, grants, or institutional budget. So these are some of the popular postdoctoral fellowships around the world. In Japan, JSPS; in Europe, Marie Slotska, Q Reactions, and NSF postdoc fellowships in USA. And there are many more. These are some of the few popular postdoctoral schemes. So why do we need to why we are going to do a postdoc? If you have a PhD or if you are in a journey of PhD, what is the intention of doing a postdoc? Actually, this is an opportunity to conduct further research. Okay, so you can contribute to ongoing research or you can start your independent research. I told you this is a training to make you as an independent researcher. And also, so during this time, you can build your research and professional skills. And also you can deepen your other expertise, which you need to be a academic or a researcher or a industrial person. And also it helps to so prepare long-term academic research or industry career. So then advantages. So what kind of benefits we can get from doing a postdoc? It enhances the researcher's portfolio with specialized skills. So because you do more research and you can do more publications. So, for a researcher, it's like their CV is kind of the publication. So this is giving you a better chance for you to make your portfolio more stronger with specialized skills. And you also can develop many other skills. And also to opportunities to network with experts in the fields. That is another very important thing in postdoc, because we all know that not only in the research field or academia or industry, wherever the human connections or the human networking are the key for the success, So postdoc is a very great opportunity for you to build up networks in the other researchers or the peer colleagues in your field. And also it's a stepping stone to tenure track academic position or even higher level industry roles. So postdoctorals are mainly postdocs are directing for academia or research job, but it doesn't limit it only for that. If you want to go to an industry, of course, there are several postdocs. They are completely directed to related with the industries, and you can directly involve with the industrial roles. Then how to find a postdoc in Japan. So that's the most important thing. And I think you all are today here to, one of the intention is to look at that. So to find a postdoc in Japan, there are two ways you can do. You can go to university websites and look for faculty profiles and ongoing projects. You can more concentrate on usually in the faculty profiles, they mention about the ongoing projects, and they advertise they are looking for postdoctoral fellows. So you can find in that way. And also there are important portals in Japan, actually. One is JSPS, Japan Science for Promotion of Science. So you can go to their website. So they advertise. And the JRECIN portal, JRECIN is the largest portal of academic jobs in Japan, and also Nature Careers. The Nature is Nature Journal Career. So not only for Japan, they have academic research positions for all over the world. So these are some of the the main portals that you can use to find postdocs in Japan. And then the next step is this is also very important, approaching potential supervisors, because in a postdoc you are getting a mentored training, or you are having a mentor. So that mentor is called as host in postdoc. So you have to have a host if you want to do a postdoc, not only in Japan, in anywhere. So So how to find a host? That is also very tricky thing. So you have to personally approach them. So what you can do is write a concise and personalized email. So you can briefly introduce yourself, mention your research background, how your research interest and align with that professor's research interest, the skills and everything. Then you can attach a CV. I think most of y'all have already done this when you were looking for postgraduate PhD opportunities. So same as that. Then they apply for funding, because certain postdoctoral positions requires independent funding. They're not coming with the fund. So in that case, you can use this kind of programs, because they are giving funding for postdoctoral fellows or like for your research, as JSPS, then MEC scholarship, the institutional grants. So many Japanese universities and institutions often offer internal funding. So you can go for one of these programs if your postdoctoral fellowship that you are looking for, it doesn't comes with its own budget to conduct your research. So since I am a JSPS postdoctoral fellow, I would like to more focus on this thing. Because I think Dr. Nama would also talk about the postdoctoral opportunities in Japan. So I thought to little bit more concentrate on JSPS if you are interested in applying for this. So JSPS postdoctoral fellowship actually it gives the fellowships for the fields such as humanities, social sciences, and natural sciences. So the duration is 1 year to 2 years. And the candidate, that means we, the person who are looking for postdoc, it's called candidate. So the candidate is eligibility. There should be 2 conditions to fulfill. One is be a citizen of a country that has diplomatic relationships with Japan. So I hope everybody in here fulfill that condition. And the second one is must have obtained your doctoral degree within 6 years of the date of the fellowship goes into effect. So it's highly advisable if you have finished your PhD, if you want to pursue a postdoc, don't wait too long, because certain postdocs they are looking for you have to have done your PhD within last 3 years, or most of the time within last 3 years. So in JSPS case, within 6 years, which is much more flexible. The applicant, actually for JSPS, the candidate is not the applicant. The host researcher, that means your mentor, is going to be the applicant. So you have to send your application to the applicant, then the applicant has to, or the host researcher has to apply on behalf of you for the JSPS. So when you're finding your host researcher, because you have to find your host researcher, so you have to make sure these conditions are fulfilled. So your host researcher should be, affiliated with a research institute, which is specified in these Kakeni conditions. That means most of the universities, of course, in Japan are under this condition, and be eligible to apply for Kakenhi grant. So you have to make sure that your professor is a full-time professor, not a small, a short-term contract professor, because such kind of people cannot be host researcher, and we wish to host an overseas researcher. So that's why it's very important, because before we apply for the JSPS, first we have to find a host researcher. So that person or that professor should be willing to be your host researcher. And also the second condition is to be a full-time researcher, cannot be short tenure or short-term academia in Japan. Then the financial support JSPS gives you. If you become a JSPS fellow, you get a airfare, a round trip air ticket. Okay, but then the maintenance allowance, that means a monthly, it's kind of your salary. And the best thing is JSPS fellowship is tax exempted, so you don't need to pay tax. So you get the full amount to your wallet. And also you are getting a settling allowance of 200,000 Japanese yen when you come to Japan, and also plus overseas travel insurance. But if you are already in Japan and applying for JSPS, then you don't get the airfare and the settling allowance, but the rest you can get. And also you get a chance to apply for Kakenhi. where you can cover like, your research related expenses. You can buy these devices like, the laptops, like, the cameras, and, which important for your research. And also you can pay for the other, softwares or whatever the things you need. And also you can participate for conferences. So like as I remember, from 1.5 million to 3 million, okay, for you get. So for that, you have to apply separately through your host researcher. You have to give a small research plan and, the budget for that. So that Kakenhi grant is, it's an additional grant you can, get through the JSPS, which you can use for your research work. The application process is actually as I said before, applicant is your host researcher. So candidate, like, the person who wants to apply for this, you have to fill the candidate application and send to the host researcher. So JSPS website has all these, things. So the normal program called standard program, which is up to 2 years. Then the candidates are to prepare the applications together with the applicant or the host researcher. And also we have to submit a research plan. You have to give a research plan. So this is for your information. If you are looking for a, postdoctoral opportunity in Japan, so the JSPS application, JSPS for standard program applications are now open for next year. Sorry, there's a mistake in this circle. This has to be, highlighted. The second round actually. So April 25th is going to be the deadline that for the host institution. That means you should already start by now looking for a host researcher, because it's not easy, because these professors getting hundreds of emails per week asking whether it can be my host or whether we can be my, supervisor. Most of them I know, because my host is like telling he's getting more than hundreds of emails, and most of them he doesn't read even. So it takes time. So if you want to apply for this, don't wait until the last moment. You have to find a host researcher and, make some relationship, and, and if he's willing or she's willing, then you have to go to the other steps. So benefits of receiving actually JSPS postdoctoral fellowship: reputation, because this is considered as the most reputed postdoctoral fellowship in Japan, one of the, and possibility of conducting your own research, because you are very independent in JSPS. Like the expectations are very, JSPS doesn't expect much. There is no limitation or like conditions. Okay, you have to apply this much of, like, publish this much of papers, not like that. Okay, so they're not, like, you are very independent. So you can do your own research. For me, like, being part of the, the water resource team in UNU IAS, I'm doing my own research. So I have that flexibility. And also you can apply for the Kakenhi grant, and also a lot of networking opportunities, because anyway, like, when you are doing a postdoc, you get like chance to attend many conferences, workshops, academic related events, and you can meet many people in your field, And the JSPS also itself, they organize gatherings, networkings for JSPS postdoctoral fellows in Japan. So it gives more networking opportunities. And for your information, actually, JSPS UNU postdoctoral fellowship program. So because UNU, United Nations University in Japan, which is called Institute for Advanced Study of Sustainability, actually, I did my PhD. So they have a relationship with, the JSPS. And so through UNU hire, like, or not hire, like, you can apply for JSPS fellowship through the UNU. But that's what I did actually, but the thing is, your host institution cannot be UNU IAS. UNU is doing kind of like intermediary work, okay? So your host research institution must be other than UNUIAS. So that's how I'm attached. I'm fully based in Tokyo, University of Tokyo, but I have a affiliation to UNUIAS. So you can find the application details for this in the UNUIAS website. And this is mainly for sustainability. If your research field is related to sustainability, actually, there you can apply for this program. As I remember, but you can check it. The deadline for this is January 31st. Because UNU then screen the applications, and they select few candidates, and they interview, and they select the number of candidates they want to take. Then they apply for the JSPS. But you have to find a host researcher institution. It must be other than UNU-IAS. And also you have to find a host researcher before you start the application process. So if you are interested for JSPS, and your research field is related to sustainability science, like water, biodiversity, innovation, education, this is a chance. This is a good chance, actually. You can search in their website. So some of the tips that I would like to share with y'all when you're finding a postdoc in Japan. The first actually thing is build relationship with potential host. You must be already in Japan, or you are not in Japan, but finding the potential host is the key. So if you're already in Japan, and attached to a university, try to have a very good connection with your supervisor, PhD supervisor, and the other, the professors in here. And if you are out of Japan, you can start writing and, building these relationships. Actually, my PhD supervisor became my host researcher. So because of that connection, I got this opportunity. So that's why, anyway, if you're doing your PhD, maintain a very good relationship with your supervisor, even after PhD, gives a lot of benefits, because you both are in the same field now. So, and in the, you can, he can introduce his network for you, so it's very advantageous, and network strategically. So if you're already in Japan, or even you can, go for these kind of events or sessions where these academia or research people gather in your field, or you can join for some webinars, getting know each other. And also some of the top research areas, there are a lot of funding for postdoc in Japan: engineering, robotics, material science, medicine, and environmental studies. So you can, if you want to do a postdoc in Japan, you can think about these areas. And the key institutions, in terms of research institutions, University of Tokyo has so much of opportunities for postdoc, as well as the Kyoto University. So you can always, check their websites and see. And also there are some specialized institutes like National Research and Development Agency and AIST, they also offer many postdoctoral opportunities. So if your research fields is aligned with there, so then you can, try them out. And also you can explore industry academia collaborations as well. And another advice from me is be flexible. So, for example, my PhD was mainly about urban agriculture in urban planning, but when I was looking for postdoc opportunities, I expanded, my research field into urban water, that's how I got this opportunity. So don't be so strict into one small research area. So be open, because when you find opportunity, you can, relate your research areas into that. So finding opportunity is the first thing you have to do. So be flexible with that. Yeah. So doing a postdoc, will make you more stronger and will give you so much of strength, because as I said, it's like a training, once you completed your PhD. And so if you want to find your career in academia or research related industry, I think doing a postdoc will give you many benefits. So that's I wanted to share with y'all. Maybe in questions, I can share more information. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chetika. I think that was an interesting and wonderful presentation regarding the postdoctoral fellowships and how to find one, and about your own experience. Since we have another postdoctoral research, another very experienced person, Dr. Nama Ratnayaka, with us. After his presentation, we'll take a combined question and answer session. So you two can answer for any questions regarding the postdoctoral research fellowships and things related to that. So let us move on to Dr. Nama Ratnayaka, a postdoctoral research fellow from the University of Tokyo, and a very experienced one in that sense. One of our beloved friends from alumni of Sri Lanka Student Association in Japan. So I would like to welcome you to the webinar on guidance for professional careers in Japan, and the webinar is over to you to share your ideas.
Thank you, Varshana. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, okay. Let me share my screen. Can you see my screen? Okay.
Yes.
Right. So before starting my little presentation about to guide you the path, I mean try to explain how I came up to this point. So before that, we had a really good talk by Dr. Chetika, and I also learned something from it, because some things about JSPS I didn't know. I got to know it, and also I was thinking to apply this year, and thank you for mentioning the deadlines. So okay, starting now, I'm Nama Ratnayaka. I have a bachelor's of engineering and from UK, and MSc in UK, and also PhD in Japan. I'm currently working in Tokyo University, University of Tokyo, as a project researcher. Project researcher is also kind of like a postdoctoral fellowship, and in River and Environmental Engineering Lab. And so moving on, let me explain a little bit about myself, what kind of education I have and where I worked before, and also what kind of things that I did to the academia. So starting from education, I completed bachelor's and master's in University of Wolverhampton and University of Salford, Manchester. The thing is, even though it says that the degrees are from UK, I did not study in UK. I studied in Sri Lanka. So both these degrees are from CINEC. So the thing is, before coming to the bachelor's, I was living in Monaragala, Bibila. So I was a good person. But then I did my A-levels, and then I barely passed. I had 2 C's and 1 S for my A-levels. But then I was lucky. I got selected to applied sciences in the Samanture campus. We call it Southeastern University. So I went there. I followed the degree, the applied sciences, for 1.5 years. Then after that, I thought this is not my path. Then I begged with my parents and agreed to, okay, then you can go to SLIT and try engineering. Then with the help of my parents, then I joined SLIT. But unfortunately, I was not able to finish the degree because of the economic crisis. So then I had some help, and then I joined CINEC. Then I finished my degree in CINEC with the degree from University of Wolverhampton. The degree is Electronics and Communication Engineering, B.Eng Hons. So this is 3-year degree, and still I got second class upper division. And after that, I joined select as an instructor. While I was working as an instructor, I started my master's again in CINEC, where uh, the program is called Robotics and Automation. I love robotics because I was always like fascinated about electronics and stuff, like building robots and stuff. So then I started doing my master's in CINEC in robotics and automation. That degree is from University of Salford. So this is also from UK. Then from this onwards, I think I started learning well and giving my best to the education itself. So in this degree, I got the distinction, and I was able to publish 2 papers as well. And then I got promoted in the Slate as an assistant lecturer. Then I worked for around 1 year there. And then I was lucky again. I got a SSP scholarship, which was offered from Kochi University of Technology. And I joined there to do my PhD in computer science. And in the PhD, I actually nailed it. I was able to implement a novel algorithm, a machine learning model called Cascaded Anfis. And during my 3-year PhD time, I was able to publish 12 Q1 journal publications. So that I think gave me a huge push to come up to this point. So after that, after finishing my PhD, I applied for the postdoctoral fellowship here in Tokyo University, and now I'm currently under the Budget Moonshot project. So this Moonshot project is also kind of like a JSPS, but this is like dedicated to do researches for sustainable development. So this Moonshot project will go up to 2050 because this sustainable development goals are set for 2050. So until that time, we have this budget. So now I am working under Professor Masashi Minamide in the University of Tokyo. So so far, what I have done to academia is kind of you can say here, like I was lucky. I told you I published 12 papers during my PhD time, and then I got the Sakuma Award, where I got it from KUT. It was for the best PhD researcher in 2023. And then I got, during my PhD time, like I worked with my professor, and then we were able to capture 3 JSPS grants. But the thing is, like, since I was a student, I could not act as a principal investigator. Rather, I was a collaborator, not collaborator, like experimental collaborator, even though the proposals were made by me. So then also I have several best posters and presentations from international conference. So also you can see that I have H index of 11, and I'm happy to say that I had a goal for 2024, like to publish 12 Q1 journals during these 12 months. And yesterday I got my last publication. So I'm really happy this year. So looking forward for the next year. Other than that, I also have worked in Aquinas College of Higher Education, Higher Studies in Sri Lanka, and also Open University as a visiting lecturer. So the thing is, like, I actually have zero idea about industry, because from the beginning I loved academia. I love to teach, maybe because my mother and father both are teachers, maybe because of that. But I'm not like saying industry is bad, but the thing is, like, if your passion, you must follow your passion. So I understood that my passion is academia and research. Even if I cannot join a university to teach, I will continue to do research. But let's see. Okay, moving on. I told you, like, what I want to be. Like, my goal is to become a professor. So that's my final goal. I want to die after I become a professor. That's my goal. The problem is, like, I live in Japan now. So in Japan, the bachelor students, let's say, even in the Tokyo University, which is the biggest university in Japan, the bachelor students, they don't speak English. So if you are going to become a professor in Japan, even if the university is huge, you have to teach in Japanese. So that is very difficult, because I have been in Japan for 5 years now, but I cannot. The thing is, I think the fault is mine, because actually not mine. I'm not sure. The thing is, like, all the time when I have to work, I always work in English, because my professors, they talk to me in English. My friends, they talk to me in English. I never have I have engagement with Japanese people, but I can manage it with a little bit of Japanese. I don't need a huge amount of Japanese. So that makes me not wanting to learn Japanese up to 100%. But it is a must if I want to become a professor in Japan. That's what I understood. I'm not sure if I am 100% correct in this aspect, because I had, like, there are some English medium universities here, but still I think we need Japanese in that case. But other than that, if I cannot become a professor in Japan, I would like to become a research scientist somewhere in, like, research institute that there are. For example, there are research institutes like Fricken, and some are like AIST, and so on. Or the last option is I can become an R&D engineer in a company. So now the last option is to go to the industry section rather than academia, but still I will be working on research and development. So this is what I want to become. This is my goals for my life. But the take home message in this case is, like, if you want to teach in Japan at a university, Japanese is a must. So if you are willing to come to Japan and want to pursue your career in academia, I think you must put more time on learning Japanese as well. So moving on. So I made this to-do list because what I am trying to give you in this presentation is, like, how I have succeeded up to now. So if you want to try the method that I did, you have to do these kind of things. So this one is like, you must do it, but I didn't do it yet, but I'm trying. Study Japanese as much as you can. And if you want to apply, if you want to get a job, like I am a postdoc right now, so you have to find and apply as much as you can, because as Dr. Chaitika said, like, you will not get it easily. The first email, you will never get a reply. If you're like very lucky, okay, you will get it, like some reply. So you have to find and apply as much as you can. So the best two options to find jobs in academia is kind of like these two. You can find from JRaking, this website you can see here. In this website, you can find all the academic careers from PhDs. Even PhDs. PhDs also, I think they are taking them as well as the career path in academia. So up to the full professorships, you can find all the jobs in this website. And also you can go to the linkedin.com, and if you search for Japanese assistant professorships, Japan PhDs, or Japan postdoctoral fellowships, you will get a lot. So these two options, I highly recommend you if you are willing to find any PhDs or postdoctoral fellowships, assistant professorships, associate professorships, or full professorships, or any kind of academic jobs. So other than that, these things you must do. You must publish high quality papers, because if you want to survive in academia, this is a must. If you do not have high quality papers, if you do not make your H index higher, then I believe that you will be neglected. Because in academia, I have seen this thing. They check, like, I have few postdoc fellows here in this room. Like there are one from China, there's one from India, and there's one from Hong Kong. When a professor, like invited professor, comes to a university, they quickly check Google Scholar and check, okay, what's his citations, what's his H-index, and then only they understand, okay, this one is a big shot, how we should talk to him and how we should engage, or should we engage with him, or should we have a collaboration or not. So I think it is a must. If you are willing to be success in academia, you have to have a good publication record. And also, I think it is also a plus point if you can perform well in conferences. So in academia, if you go to many conferences, there are many chances. The thing is, like in Japan, if you find international conferences which is in Japan, there will be lots of Japanese students, Japanese postdoctoral fellows. The thing is, there's a there's a chance that we can perform better than Japanese students or Japanese fellows, because these presentations are in English and they are really lacking the English language. So what you can do is you can try hard to become the best in the conferences and try to catch always the best presentation or best paper or best poster presentation. You can do it, because I have done it and I have that experience, and I felt that it's very easy if you are trying to do that in Japan, other than if you go outside and you find many native speakers and then you have to fight with them. So try to do that. And the next thing is, this is very important. Don't get overloaded, because in my experience, with me there are, I think, 13 or 14 PhD students were in the university that I did my PhD. So around 7 students, they actually gave up in the middle of doing PhD, and some start to get some medicines for like mental health, and some talk to me like they felt like suiciding, because I think it is very hard for your brain. I mean, it's very difficult for your brain to tackle this one. I mean, do the PhD or do this research and show the result to your professor. That's kind of a very big thing in your mind if you are starting this one. So I think you have to balance this workload and also your life. So in my case, I always love sports. So even when I was in Sri Lanka, I played soccer, I played karate, and when I come to Japan, I wanted to play something like Indo. So then I started playing badminton, and for like 5 years now, I play badminton like 2 days at least per week. So doing that, I think you release stress, which will, I mean, of course, benefit you in your academia. Because I have the experience also, like almost all the big shots in academia, they do sports. I mean, at least they do golfing, or they do some, I mean, like tennis or something like that. Maybe like kind of like difficult things that we are not very familiar. But I think even if you can start like playing cricket, because in if you're coming to Tokyo, like there are many Sri Lankan students and Sri Lankan people, and you can get together and you can start playing. So that will definitely help you in excelling your academic career. So you have to find a hobby, and then you have to continue it. Don't stop it. Even if you are very busy with your workload, keep that time, keep that 1 hour, keep that 2 hour to that sport or something that you consider as a hobby, which will help you in releasing the stress. And the next thing is, you have to make sure to complete the requirements. So what I mean by this is, like, let's say you would like to there's a job, there's a postdoctoral fellowship that you would like to apply, but the thing is, they are asking for some requirements, some skill set. So what you can do is you can check it beforehand and you can get it by yourself, because right now we have all all the resources in the world just by Googling it, just by going into YouTube, or just by using ChatGPT. You can learn anything. So what you can do is you can always be ready before it comes. So make sure you complete all the requirements. And also, in my case, I made a lot of collaborations. So the secret behind publishing a lot of papers is good collaborations. More collaborations you have, you will get more quality papers and the huge amount of papers, and which ultimately increase your H index and also your citations. And also, you do a lot of research. You will do several researches. So since you are doing it, get that confidence to you, and then when you talk with that confidence, because I have seen maybe I think for now, like, I have joined around 30 conferences around the world. So when I talk with people, I understand there are some category of people, they talk about their research like in doubtful, like they are not sure about their research, their research. But the thing is, like, some people are there, like they talk, they have done very small thing, but they talk with very confidence. So we would like to listen to it, and then we like to engage with them, and then that makes a collaboration, which will ultimately help you in succeeding in your academic career. So these kind of to do things is very important if you are willing to survive in academia. So moving on, I also wanted to show you something I found yesterday. So this is my first email to my current supervisor. So not as soon as, like, before finishing my PhD, like before 3 months, before I started applying for jobs. So I applied around 60 postdoctoral fellowships, 60. I mean, in that case, in that section, I also applied for assistant professorships. But this one is to the one that to the professor Masashi Minamide, who I work with right now. This is the email that I sent. So as you can see here, like, I talk about my work in confidence, and I say I did this and I did this, and I would like to do, I would like to work with you. But the thing is, the important thing here is, like, actually the thing that the project that Professor Minamide is doing is very different from me. He is civil engineering, but I am computer science guy. So he is doing like meteorological research, but I am right now doing is like predicting and forecasting cyclones. So they are using the physical models, which are not machine learning models. So I have to learn everything from the beginning. Like, I don't know anything about civil engineering, but still I say, like, okay, I can do this. I have done these kind of things. So because I have worked with many people, I think I can work with you as well. So it worked. So you can get, I think you can get some idea, like how you have to tackle your professors as well, how you can tackle your future professors, future colleagues. So moving on, I would like to show another the point. If I heard that there are some master students as well who are willing to do some PhDs. So there are many PhD opportunities in Japan. The most known one is MEX scholarship. If you apply from Sri Lanka, then if you have the MEX scholarship, you can join any university in Japan and then do the PhD. So that's kind of a like very known thing, very familiar thing for everyone in Sri Lanka. Like, everyone knows MEX. But the thing is, most of the people, they don't know about this scholarship. This is the one that I got, and there were only 5 Sri Lankans in this university, where 4 of them have become the best student in that year and got the Sakuma Award. And I would like you to check this out. If anyone is interested in doing a PhD, I think this is a good chance for you. you can, so the website is something like this. You can get the link here. So in that case, like, let me quickly go there and I will show it to you. You can see my screen, right? Okay. So if you go here, then you have the list of required SSP applications. No, it's not that one. I think this one. Yes, this one. So if you go here, you have like lots of projects. If you would like to apply, you have to directly contact the supervisor. You can just send an email and say like, okay, I would like to work with you and I have these kind of research experiences. And if you would like, then I can give you a proposal as well. And they have mentioned about the research project in here in this column. So it's starting from like intelligent machine, mechanical and aerospace engineering. Like they have everything. But I'm not sure. Like it's engineering and also business management. I'm not sure about the art subjects. I don't think they don't have it. They don't have it. So yeah, engineering, informatics, like IT is there. Economics and management. Yeah. If anyone is interested in doing the researches under these categories, like doing PhDs, I think this is a really good opportunity. And also, I think since we showed our capabilities, the previous students, I told you like 4 of them has become the best students in that year. I think if you apply, there's a bigger chance, like higher chance that you will get accepted. So I would like the master students who would like to do a PhD, please try it out. So, sorry. That's all from my presentation. And if you have any questions, you can just ask me right now. And also, like, these are my contacts. If you go to my LinkedIn, you can see all my stuff and my WhatsApp, my email, and my university email and ORCID ID. And yeah, let's discuss if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Namal. I think that was an inspiring presentation, listening about your story, how it started and where you are right now. It's kind of really fascinating to hear. So I think we had 2 presentations from postdoctoral research fellows from different areas of studies. So it will be an interesting question and answer session. So the floor is open for questions and answers. I would encourage you to ask questions. So until others are coming up with their questions, I would ask a question. How important is it to, publish your research? Now, we have seen that people do their, basically their postgraduate studies or even the bachelor's, but it's really, transferred into a publication rather.
I think something happened.
Yeah, I think
there's a bit of a connection issue on Harshana's end.
Harshana dropped. How important is it when you apply for postdoctoral research fellowship or in general, right?
Yes. Can I mention what Harshana asked? Yeah, so the question Harshana asked is how important it is to publish your work when you're applying for postgraduate opportunities, PhDs or postdocs.
I think Dr. Namal, you can start, then I can add, from.
Yeah, sure. So
Sorry.
the thing is like, welcome back, Harshan.
So how important is it to, publish your research, whether it is a bachelor's research or master's, or even if I think definitely in PhD, you have to publish your research. That's a requirement. But how important is it to publish?
So I will give an example. I did my bachelor's, and in that my bachelor's, I did my project for developing an UAV drone controller, autonomous drone controller. So that little thing which I developed using MATLAB, which was very small, and I published in local, not local exactly, like IEEE conference in Sri Lanka, which was in Galle, University of Ruhuna. If I read it now, I can see like hundreds of mistakes that I did. But that paper is the one, like bachelor's research paper was the one that gave me the PhD. Can you believe that? That my
Oh,
sensei, like, yeah, he was so inspired, like, okay, you did this one. Very interesting. And then that means that you can learn. You likes to do this because his area was fuzzy logic. The one I programmed is also fuzzy logic, which is very small, very, very small one. But still he liked it. So the thing is like, if you want to engage with other people, you should publish it. If not, how they will know it, right? If you keep it to yourself, like, what's the meaning of that? It's like keeping a patent, but still patent are published, right? Yeah.
yeah. Dr.
Anything to add,
Chetika?
Chetika?
Yes.
Yeah, so actually, even in my presentation, I mentioned for a researcher or for academia, your research profile is your portfolio. It shows your your strength and everything. So for a PhD, yeah. So for PhD, to get a PhD, actually, they're looking for some publications actually. So for masters, I don't think they are more focused on publications. But for PhD, yeah, it's advisable, at least if you have like one or two publications in peer review journals would be because selecting to a PhD, especially for a scholarship, right? So it's a highly competitive. So it will make you a very good candidate. And definitely yes for the postdoctoral, because postdoctoral is kind of you have completed your PhD, and PhD is a very thorough study, like you have been doing for 3 to 5 years. So of course they are looking for publications, especially in the peer review journals, like high index journals. So that's the one of the main things they are looking for, like in postdoctoral fellowship. How many? Because you're competing with other the people with the same qualification, same PhD. They also having a PhD. So this number of publications, good publications, are the key factor, yeah, for a postdoc. I think Harshana, you're muted.
You're on.
Thank you for that answer. Do we have any questions from the audience?
I think
Yes,
Harshana, there is
okay.
one question was in the chat box I saw.
Yeah, Utpala, you can ask your question. I'll find the chat box question.
Yeah, actually, so this question was directed to me as a private message from one of the audience member. So it is directed to Dr. Chetika. The first one is how did you get funding for the 2 research projects where you are the principal investigator? And the other one is if the funding was from Kakeni grant, in which language is the language proposal was maybe she is asking whether the what is the language of the proposal for the Kakeni grant, if it was the funded by the Kakeni grant?
Yeah, so it's from the Kakeni grant actually, because actually I wrote for one big proposal for the Kakeni. I mean, big in the sense you don't need to have write so many things. It's a proposal, the application is very short. But within that big project, I'm doing 2 projects, so basically the Kakeni is the main funding source for those 2 projects. And yes, definitely in English, because for JSPS, it's for international researchers. So everything is happening in English. So you don't need to worry about, as Nama said, I'm also very basic levels. Even this is my fourth year in Japan, like very basic. My Japanese level is very basic. Now only I started learning, so you don't need to worry about the language. In JSPS, within the JSPS postdoctoral fellowship.
Any other questions from the audience? Okay, I have a question from one of the audience members. Is that how important is it to have a clear vision of your professional pathway, even at the time of your studies, like if you are doing PhDs or even postgraduate? If you are focusing on becoming a postdoctoral fellow or getting a postdoctoral fellowship, how important is it to have that vision in your mind, as Dr. Namal and both of you said? What kind of a role does that play at the end result? Like, if you are focused, if you have a clear vision, what kind of an impact does it have, rather than just doing stuff and hoping that when it is the time I will act? So what is the importance of having a vision?
Shall I go first, or Namal? You can go first.
Yeah, you can go first.
Okay. Yeah, it's a very interesting question, though. Yeah, so having a vision is always important. It directs your path. Rather than like doing like things in ad hoc way. If you have a vision, so your path is. But also, like as I said, you need to be flexible as well. You need to adapt and adjust. Because sometimes you never know where the opportunity is. So don't be so like, my advice is, this is my personal advice. So you need to have a, vision. You need to like have, okay, what is the thing that you want to achieve, like, in career wise. But being so much of specific or so much of narrow, like, maybe you will lose many opportunities. Okay. So be flexible. Be open for the opportunities. Who knows? Maybe that opportunity can take you, faster to your goal, like, than the normal path that you see. So always have a clear vision, but always be open to the, the opportunities and be flexible. That's my actually advice.
I agree with it.
Harshana, you're muted again.
Yeah, I always forget that. So I saw one of the audience members, raise their hand.
Fumi
Yes,
Fernando.
Fumi Fernando.
Hello.
Yes, you can ask your question.
Hello, good evening. I'm not very sure about my question because I'm an art student. So I have sent my question to several times to the madam and sir, but I'll read it.
Okay.
I have this concern that can we get English teaching opportunities in the universities in Japan as a lecturer? Is it possible? Because most of the people are not familiar with Japanese. That's why. Those who are learning in Japanese universities.
Okay. Yes. So from my experience, it's actually from my knowledge, actually, not from my experience. Yeah, I think there must be a possibility, because since I'm not into this art and humanities, like, in this field, but there must be an opportunity. But why don't you, Pumi, check in this, the JREC that the Namal also, like, showed you, because it is the largest academic, portal in Japan. So they advertise everything, because there are certain universities in Japan, like Sophia University in Tokyo. They are very, English environment, so they are very international. There are very like, I can't remember. There's another university in Akita prefecture. I can't remember its name. That's also very international, So there are a few universities in Japan. They are very, very international. And also, like, because you are looking for like a English, academic position. So maybe Japanese language is not a kind of like a entry barrier for that. Yeah. So from my knowledge, maybe there is like, chances, opportunities, but you have to explore.
Right. Thank you, madam.
I would like to add something. Yeah, I think, Chetika is right. But also there are some other opportunities if you would like to work as an English, is it your, I mean, you said you are art background?
Yes,
do you
I'm
mean
a
exactly?
lecturer in English, University of Kelaniya.
Right.
So I'm
So-
looking forward to like go abroad.
Yeah. So what you can do is like there are a few companies in Japan called what's the name? Borderlink. Is it Borderlink? Yes. So there are job positions like I will send in the chat as well. There are job positions called ALT, Assistant Language Teachers. So you can start that one if, I mean, you can apply even from Sri Lanka. And then if you get selected, then you can of course come here and work as an assistant language teacher, where you will work with a native uh, teacher, I mean classroom teacher, and then that teacher will ask you some questions while you are working on the English language, because Japanese people, they are really having hard time teaching in English. And for
Mhm.
example, they will not know exact meaning of some words and something like that. Because my wife, she when I was doing my PhD, she applied for this ALT job, and she got it very easily. But the thing is, like, she was in Japan at that time, so it was easy for her. But I heard that there are some other people who are residing in Sri Lanka. They applied for it, and once there were many. I mean, in order to get that job, there are few rounds of interviews. Even you have to do the teaching. What do you call it?
Mock teaching, yeah.
Yeah, mock teaching something. Yeah. So you have to do that, and then they will give you the visa as a teacher. There's a category called teacher, I think. Yeah. So it's not. I mean, she came to Japan as a dependent, but then she changed the visa. And the thing is, like, I got my salary as a PhD position, 150,000 yen. But then once she changed her visa, she got 210,000. So which is bigger than me. So I was the dependent after that. So you can apply. One of uh, the what do you call the company is called Borderlink. There's another one, I cannot remember its name, which is very famous though. I mean, this one is the like second biggest one. The biggest one I cannot remember. If I remember it before ending this one, I will send it.
Thank you very much, sir.
And I think one of the other options is that every university, they have these professional communication departments where they support students with English. And we have seen many, professors muted me. Okay, we have seen that there are professors who are teaching English. So if you have, I think the one of the requirements is to have this international qualification of IELTS or TOEFL or kind of a qualification to support your capabilities. Then there would be many opportunities. Yeah. So if we don't have Utpala, do you have a question? No.
Yes, I have a small question. So I'm currently a PhD student, a PhD first year student. So for you, from your experience, if I want to pursue a postdoc fellowship after I finish my PhD, so what is the best time during PhD? So like after finishing the PhD or like before finishing the PhD? So what is your experience or like what is your advice if I want to apply for that? So yeah, that's.
Yes. One of you. Yes.
I started 6 months before ending my PhD.
6
because
months.
I finished my pre-defense. I mean, yeah, there were two defenses, pre-defense and final defense. So as soon as I finished my pre-defense, I started applying, because on that point, like, you will know if you will get the PhD by that time or not. So since you are like first year, I think you should. It's 3-year PhD, right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
in another 1.5 years, you can apply. I mean, the thing is, you can apply and you can have a discussion with the professor that you are willing to join, and then you can prepare your proposal. If you want to apply for JSPS, as Chetika said, like you have to have a host institute and host supervisor, and then talk with him, make that collaboration connection.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think better to start like, not off definitely in first year or second year.
Yeah.
In like, in the third year or final year, you can, if you have to find a host first, then of course it's better, as Nama said, it's better to start, looking for a host. But when you're applying, there are some conditions like, either you have to have your PhD, or there are conditions whether you have completed your first defense. It depends on like the program, or like maybe where you have not graduated yet, but you have done like, your final defense or something like that. It depends. But always, that means you have like almost like finished your PhD, but maybe not graduated yet. So, but better to start, maybe like during the last semester of your like third year, like, to find a host and have some rapport.
You can
Okay.
always state that you already have completed the requirements. Like if you have, because in my case I had to publish 2 Q1 papers, and that one, and also the final defense. So I have already completed the first one. So I mentioned it in my email. So they are okay with it.
Thank you very much. I think since we are running out of time, we can wind up with the question and answer session. It was a very insightful session. Now I would like to invite Ms. Pumi Silva, Secretary of the SLSH, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Harshan. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Sri Lankan Students Association in Japan, I would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to all those who contributed to the success of our today's webinar, Guidance for Professional Careers in Japan. Firstly, I want to express our sincere thanks to our distinguished speakers, Mr. Jagat Ramanayaka, Dr. Chetika Gunasiri, and Dr. Namal Ratnayaka. Your valuable insights, experiences, and advice have provided an immense benefit to everyone seeking to thrive in Japan's professional landscape. Your inspiring words have surely motivated all the participants that joined today. Next, a special thanks to our organizing committee, whose tireless efforts and dedication ensured the seamless execution of this webinar. We are also deeply grateful to all the attendees who took the time to join us. Your enthusiasm and participation makes these initiatives worthwhile. So wishing you all the very best in your professional endeavors, and thank you and have a good night.
Thank you very much, Ms. Pumi. So before we end the session, we can take a group photo if you are capable of turning your cameras on. I would invite you to do so. Let's take a group photo.
Okay, then. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much to all of you, to our distinguished speakers, for taking your time and giving us all your valuable advices, and to all the attendees for taking your time out of this relaxed weekend and the end of the year. So we wish you all the best and Happy New Year for the coming New Year. And Shashikamal Kodito, could you have it? Okay. So I think we can wind up the session. So hoping to meet you with more informative and insightful projects in the coming year from SLSHA. Let us wind up and have a Happy New Year. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good night all.